Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. My name is Franklin, and I'm the Product App Specialist for Kits and your webinar host. So this is where you need to be every Wednesday to learn those tips and tricks you need to know to becoming that supercharged power user. Now, if you have any questions, what you can do is you can submit them in the chat box. Just look in the GoToWebinar control panel. That'll be on the right side of your screen. And I will be taking a few minutes at the end of the webinar to answer them. Just as a reminder, our next free training webinar is this Thursday, April 12th at 3 p.m. So be sure to attend if you're new to Kits or if you just need a quick review. Sign up is easy. All you need to do is go to our Kits Knowledge Center, click on the resource tab to register for training. That's the basic training as well as any listed webinars. All right. So that being said, let's get on with today's webinar. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over the steps to creating that ultimate rendering. So really what we're looking to do is enhance those renderings. So we'll be going over the following: choosing the right perspective to use, and then also using the KOE items to enhance your scene, such as the top 5 go-to items that I use, and also being able to create quick environments. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and open up Kits. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and continue on with one of the typicals that we used last week. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one. So last week what we did was we covered, let me just open up there. There we go. So last week what we did was we covered how to use environment photos, including the environment photos for our project. If you weren't able to attend last week's webinar, don't worry. You can actually go to our YouTube page and you can find the posting for that webinar. If that posting's not up yet, it will be up shortly, as marketing it takes them some time to convert those videos for YouTube. But once it's there, you can review it at any time you want. However, we do have a list of past webinars that we've done regarding including your environment there too, so that you can also watch. All right. So what we're doing was we're utilizing both the AR feature as well as the sample environments. And here you can see what it looks like when you use the augmented reality feature in Kits, being able to take your layout and place it in a photo which you've taken using the app and the iPad's photo camera. So here, I'm just going to quickly go through this. You can see here what we've done is we took that photo. Let's take a look at the original. So you can see the original photo contained some loose items which I was able to eliminate. All right. Again, this is going to be a very quick review over this. So what I was able to do was I was able to use the erase feature, in particular using the flooring. And because of the pattern of the flooring, what I was looking to do was I was looking to place my swatch selector in an area that would allow the repeat of the carpet. Okay, so sometimes you have to recognize what that repeat is. Sometimes it's actually entirely impossible to create that. Regarding this, all I needed to do was make sure that I had a consistent cutout of the actual swatch that you can see here, and I placed where each of the pattern actually meets, so that I placed that in the middle. So now when Kits replicates this, it kind of replicates the carpet on the floor. Okay. Go ahead and select that. Then we selected the area in which we wanted to erase. I erased a little bit too much, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fine tune this just a little bit by placing the swatch like so, so I don't erase too much of the actual legs of the other remaining furniture there. And then what I did was accepted that, and then Kits began to do the floor erase, removing the items using the swatch that we selected. So again, in case you need to review this, you can easily go to our YouTube page and find last week's webinar, and you can view it there. There you go. So again, it isn't exactly like the floor, but you know what? It's pretty good, and it's enough for me to convey what we're trying to do here. All right. You can see there's a little bit of an off pattern, but it's too hard for the client to see. In fact, what that actually looks like to me is some shadowing, which is adds a little bit to the photorealism. All right. Then we calibrated the space to give it some kind of dimension. Here, what we're using was a 9-foot scale. So I'm going to go ahead and place my 3D measuring tool here. I'm going to go ahead and find 9 feet. We can even rotate the measuring tool using the rotate gesture, and then just making sure that I scale it accordingly, okay, so that the measuring tool hits about where I am pretty much saying is 9 feet, all right? Tap on done, and then tap on use, and that brings in our furniture to scale, all right? What I also did was made sure that the floor grid was on so that I can utilize the floor grid here. And let's just quickly remove those. Here, what I'm doing is I'm aligning the perspective of the floor grid with the perspective of the actual image. So you can see I'm just making sure that this runs aligned with the actual trim here. Okay, looks like I just need to turn it just a little bit. There we go. All right, and then once that's good, I'm gonna tap on undo, furniture comes back, and there's now the placement of the furniture. All right, let's remove the floor grid. Look how cool that looks. All right, so what we have to understand here is that what helps us close a sale is not necessarily only the furniture, but understanding exactly what the client wants to see. So understanding that perspective, how to actually place the furniture in a scene, how to turn the camera angle to take that right picture, those all play importance to how we actually sell the furniture to our client. Things that you might want to consider. If this is a private office, let's say this is for an executive that's going to be hosting, some of your big clients, then furniture and how it looks, finishes, textures, those all might play an important role to really reflecting what the company is all about. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that that perspective is seen. So you might want the client, you might want to take the perspective of the client walking into an office and seeing what the furniture looks like, all right? 2, let's say this is an executive that is, running a bullpen, and it's all about focused work. So then what you want to do is, if this office is created for that particular executive, then what you want to do is pay attention and focus on the amenities of the actual furniture that's around them. So access to overhead storage, access to any kind of base storage. What kind of base storage is there? Is there additional seating for other people to sit in? Or is there a small meeting table? These are all things that you want to consider and make sure that you place some kind of importance, because again, understanding those minor details will really help you sell your project. Okay, so perspective is really important. Understanding how to place the furniture in proper perspective. What you see here on the screen, how I place this 4-pack within this augmented reality image. I made sure that I'm following the flow of the perspective of the image so that it comes in to what the actual scale should be and basically what the furniture would look like within the space. It would look off if I place it in some kind of orientation that just didn't make any sense. Or if I took an image of the space and I placed it like this where it's actually bumping into other furniture. These are things that you might want to take in consideration before you use this feature, as you want to make sure that the site that you're taking an image of can basically encompass what the layout is that you've created, so that the length and width of the layout will be able to fit within the space that you're taking an image of. So these are all key things to understand that are very important to understanding perspectives, okay? So again, we place it in an orientation that makes sense. Spacing looks pretty good to me. Again, there's no reason why you have to make sure that the entire furniture is seen. Remember, perspective can play a lot into actually selling your project. So just understand that if it's in the right perspective, again, taking the position of proper scale, so you're not necessarily in this type of position where we're looking down at the furniture. Sometimes it's good to relay what the actual image looks like. And with kits, I mean, you can take multiple renderings as you want. So providing these kind of images do help. But at the end of the day, we're going to see furniture the way we normally see it in real life. And that's what we want to take a look at. And that's what you need to understand in how you can convey the proper message. All right, so perspective plays a key role into really selling and communicating what you're trying to sell to your client. All right. Now, aside from using the environment here, you could also use the KOE catalog to enhance your scene. So let's go ahead and open up the KOE catalog. Now, if you're new to the KOE catalog, what we have to do is go into our catalog subscription screen. And the KOE catalog will be listed under the Kits Design Collection. That'll be under the publisher list on the left-hand side. So here you can see the Kits Design Collection, highlight it. We do have two catalogs, the Kits Office Environment Elements catalog as well as the Kits Office Text catalog. Today we just need the Kits Office Environment Elements catalog, so we're going to go ahead. It's a lot to say, a lot of words in the title, so simply enough, it's the KOE catalog. You can go ahead and sync that to your device. What the KOE catalog presents is a way for you to enhance your photos or your renderings. Being able to place office equipment, being able to place people, plants, these all provide ways that we can actually humanize the scene. So again, understanding perspective, understanding what would help sell the actual project quickly, such as maybe playing people in an orientation of how they're actually going to be working around the layout that you're creating, or maybe exemplifying or illustrating the type of equipment that's going to be required. These are all play important factors into what the client wants to see. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you can convey that message as well. So let's go ahead and find the KOE catalog. There it is. Here you can see we have all these different categories to select from. Let's go into architectural elements quickly. I have wall configurations at the bottom. You can go ahead and tap on that. We have different typicals that you can use. These are quick typicals that you can quickly place. Again, let's go ahead and say, whoop, that's 9 feet high. And then what we want to do is use any type of wall enclosure that we feel will help sell the project. Now, you can take the time and rebuild the space as it actually is using the KOE catalog. However, one thing that the client may want to just see is basically what the layout looks within the context of a building, okay? So let's place this furniture in quickly. I'm going to go into plan view. And what I'm going to do is just quickly do a reset here. Plan view. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this up. So we're going to turn that over. And we're going to place it like so. You can see here I'm not using a floor grid. If you need to use a floor grid, you can simply turn it on. You can see that I have some boundaries that I can actually use as a guide. And then I'm going to do a duplicate. Oh, actually, I can't use a duplicate on that. What I have to do is use a different wall here, which would be somewhat left-handed. And what do we have here? 10, 10, 9. And there we go. Perfect. Oh, whoops, a little too small. Let's go ahead and pick the bigger one, 1559. Bring it in. Rotate that. And then let's make sure it's connected. Okay, you can see it's quite off. I don't even have the wall where it is, but I'm not really after that. What I'm after is making sure that I can turn it around so that the client can actually see what it would look like within a space that's similar to that office space, or at least a close resemblance. Again, you don't have to necessarily build an environment that is exactly of the space, but if you do have the time and you have the skill, then you can certainly do so. All right, another thing I can do here is I can add some flooring. And we knew that there was some carpeting So again, let's use carpet 15, add to project, just quickly place it in the scene. I'm going to go into plan view, and the snap to will help me place the carpet within my scene. All right, there we go. Again, let's go to 3D view. That looks like I need to cover a bit more white space. One thing that you want to do as well is you want to make sure that you cover as much white space as possible, especially on the ceiling, so that what we're doing is we're playing more focus on the actual furniture itself, okay? And the white space, they don't get confused with, why do we have just a white ceiling? There's no lighting. All these other variables that they may, question. In this case, you just want to make sure that you cover it all, okay? For the carpeting, I want to make sure that, again, I complete all the white space. So I'm going to create a duplicate, and I'm just going to make sure that's somewhat aligned. I'm not even taking a look at how it's overlapping each other, because I know that once I select the finishes, it'll look proper anyways. So here I'm going to find something that somewhat resembles the office space. That's actually close enough in terms of color. Okay, if I need to go back and see a sample here, you can see that I have some of the coloring there. So it looks like I need a gray wall. Let's go back to 3D view. Make sure I get a gray wall there. Tap on done. And there you go. So look how fast we were able to create this environment out of the KOE catalog, really placing the actual furniture in some type of building. Once that's done, I'm going to take a quick rendering. And the reason being is what I like to do is I like to create renderings that sort of build up to the sale. So here's a start, maybe it's in white space, and then here's another rendering, could have some kind of environment around it. And then now what we're going to take a look is how we can add some of the KOE catalog items into the actual space itself. So save that to my photo library. And we're going to go back into the KOE catalog. This time I want to go into office equipment. We're going to place some equipment in there, such as, let's get an iMac in there. And what I like to do is I like to use my top 5. So my top 5 consists of a variation of things. It also depends on, it also really depends on the type of project I'm working on. So obviously with an office type environment, I like to put in some type of equipment like a computer, laptop, maybe a tablet device, a telephone. I like to put in a decorative item like a plant, and also maybe that red mug I love to use because it adds a pop of color. And lastly, I like to use people because they really help sell the project. What I like also to do is set up one station. So here I can go into plan view. And again, I'm just going to quickly set this up. Now I notice that the computer is slightly into the work surface. I can see by the bounding box being sort of covered by the material. So I'm going to use the raise gesture, and I'm going to make sure that it pops up onto the surface. I know it's on the surface because the bounding box is right on top, and I can see it completely. So I know that's there. Let's go back and let's find telephone. Place it into the scene. Okay. Vertical raise, whoops. And again, I can just quickly set this up. Let's go back in. Now I want to bring in some decorative items like my red mug, which in fact, I do have a red mug in my actual office here. Let's put that into the scene. Okay, now let's add a plant. and you can see all the different views I'm going in and out of the setting up this space. It's just like setting up any other kind of space that we create. You're going to have to go into the right right views in order to place your furniture accordingly. My favorite plant is plant F1. This is a ficus that we actually have here in the office as well. I'm just going to place it right over here. Okay. You can really space plant it any way you want. Maybe the appropriate place would be in the corner, right around here. And now that I have all these items in, I want to now place my people, okay? What I'm going to do is go into plan view first, fix the chair so I can orient it the way I want them to sit in there. My favorite person is PM9, that's Ken. He's a developer here at KISP. And he loves to work, so I make sure that I use them in all my renderings. Okay, you can zoom in and you can see the bow of his back. You can place him accordingly into that actual chair. Let's go into 3D view. He actually looks like he's sitting perfectly. What I also like to do is tap on select so I can also select the chair. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the chair and Ken together, turn off the action. So now anytime I need to adjust Ken, the chair is also adjusting with him. Let's move him in. Turn off the snap to for this. And look how neat that looks. Looks like he's typing away on his black screen there. You can even double tap on the person, and depending on the color of the space, you might want to choose an appropriate color. I like to use bright colors all the time. So there I have them working. Now again, you may want to actually change this up a bit to have different people within the space. You also want to make sure that you can convey how the people are going to be working in this space. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into plan view. Oops. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a multi-select, and I'm going to select the 3 items that are going to go on each desk, group those together. Let's quickly zoom out and just quickly duplicate them. Now, again, even though these are my top 5, you don't necessarily have to repeat the same items over and over again. I mean, that kind of illustrates what every other rendering looks like, even the professional renderings that some people do. They have just basically a combo of the same equipment over and over and over again. Sometimes you might want to spice it up a bit and put something else in. So what we're going to do is for this particular person, we're going to ungroup. Let's remove that desktop. And we're going to give them, or her, we don't know what we're going to use yet. Let's give them a laptop. Go to 3D view. And there we go. All right. So look how cool that picture is now starting to get. So here, again, we can start changing it up a bit. Let's remove that. And now let's go ahead and put something else there, like this water bottle. Okay, make sure that it is properly sitting on the work surface. There we go. And lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more element to this. And that's going to be a display screen that we're going to place on the wall. Nice 60-inch LED, so they can watch movies while they work. Flip it around, turn on Snap to, and now we're going to place it against the wall. There we go. Might want to center that a bit. And let's just make sure we didn't move it too far off the wall. And remember, you're not going to see the space between the wall and the actual monitor, so don't worry about that. Now again, we've placed what we wanted in the scene. We want to make sure we dress it up accordingly using the right people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I place people in the scene that really will help convey how the space is going to be used. And we're going to make sure that we have both men and women in here. And we just need to add one more person. And there we go. And you can see how quickly I'm able to do this. Once I have my top 5, I can easily place my top 5 in the scene, and then I can start making adjustments where I feel I need to really help that scene. And you can see what a difference it actually makes when you place these people in the scene and you create such a stunning image as this. Okay, remember, this is all done on a mobile device. All right, so there's not many other tools out there. Just understand the power you have in terms of a digital resource with kits. Kits can do a lot of things, but primarily it's that digital resource you should have in your hands because it'll allow you to pull manufacturers' catalogs if you just simply want to use it for that. But then moreover, you can actually go and interact with the actual symbols or the items that are in those catalogs. You can pull the swatches, you can see how they all get put together. So there's a lot of things that you can use this. It's all a matter of how you actually integrate it into your own selling style, and then you make it part of that presentation. There we go. And you don't have to have a lot of design experience to understand this. All you have to do is practice, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. Again, you don't have to be as intricate as we get sometimes into some of these scenes, but once you take the time to understanding how things get together, how things are used, the type of gestures that you'll have to master in order to create these scenes, it really starts to become very simple. All right? Let's just quickly see if there's a, oh, sorry about that. Looks like we have a little issue with that item. That's one thing that I've noticed with some of these older items. They will make your iPad crash, and that could be due to the fact that that item no longer exists in any manufacturer's catalog. All right, so don't fret. Let us know exactly if you experience any of those issues, and what we'll do is we'll work with the manufacturer as best we can to making sure that there's updated information. All right. Let's take a quick rendering of that. And again, like I mentioned before, it shouldn't stop you with having to send your client multiple images. You just don't want to bombard them too much with too many images. What you want to do is maybe string some images, as I mentioned before, that actually lead up to sort of like a grand finale. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So I'm going to save that. And I'm going to put these images together in case you need to see all the renderings that you created. If you didn't save it to your photo library on your iPad, you can always go to View Previous Renderings, and you can see all the different renderings that I've used in the past. Okay, I'm happy with this. So again, like I said, I'm going to put these all together. We're going to create a nice document for my client, and then we're going to send it off. That's pretty much it, everyone. We've now reached the end of today's session. So takeaways for today are knowing basically that the client's requirements may extend further than just the furniture. So understanding that the project and maybe some of the details, these are details that you're going to have to extract from your client somehow, can be really the X factor in closing that sale quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and see if there are any questions for me today. And I do have one question here. It's been asked before. It's how do I get COM fabric into kits? Well, there's no way you can do it, actually. Unfortunately, any COM fabrics, there's no way of placing a swatch or image and being able to replicate that as a texture on these furniture items. However, you can use the freeform option as a way to convey COM. I do cover it in some of the webinars, so you might want to take a look at a past webinar indicating how to use freeform to provide ad hoc items such as COM. That can definitely help you. I also have a few more here. It says, sometimes when I use light colored walls, they don't look like they're all the same color. Yes, that is correct. And one of the issues that we have here is basically the light source behind this kit's environment that sometimes overshadows and overlights different walls. Now, it's a technical glitch, and that's something that we've had some issue with for some time now, actually. Just so you know that we are looking to revamp the whole rendering process to improve that. That might not take right away, but we're looking to have that done this year. Great question. Sometimes that happens on some furniture, and we do understand that, again, we want to make sure that we're displaying as best a quality as we can that helps resemble the furniture. So it's a great question, and again, we are working towards bettering that. Now, are there some colors better than others for that? You know what? It's hit or miss. Sometimes you can use some mid-tone colors. Sometimes you can use some darker colors that will really help within the scene. One thing that I do notice with some of the swatches now, you can see this grid that it's created. Let me just zoom in here on the wall. So you can see this grid this grid pattern that it's creating. Now that's another issue because of some of the changes we made in kits. Require some changes to the actual swatches because the swatches were basically required at a particular size. Now what we're having is the fact that the swatches need to be extended a bit. So we're just waiting on some fixes for that. And as soon as that happens, you'll get a nice blend. That could also result in helping the issue with the lighting. It's a very technical thing, and sometimes those can happen. But we have the dev team, and we have the data processing team looking at ways to bettering this. All right, and there's one last one here. Will kits ever allow walkthrough animations? Right now, I'm going to say no. We do have a new feature that will be coming sometime this year. I can't put an ETA date on it, but we will be providing the option to VR, so virtual reality. What that means is you'll be able to create these scenes. You'll be able to create some type of ceiling, and then you're going to be able to place, if you like to think of it, a 3D camera within your environment. And once you hit render, what it does is it'll take a stereo panorama, or basically a 3D rendering of the actual environment. It's going to allow you to push it to a smartphone, and then you're going to be able to view it with your client as if you were actually in the space. Okay, so that is coming. I can't tell you when. Is it a gimmick? You can say it is, but one thing that it actually does, it really helps allow the client or the person viewing it be immersed in the actual environment. This is actually a tool that many designers and architects use currently. It's a way that we can actually crash test certain projects so we can see whether or not furniture really fits in that space or an architectural element fits in that space. These are all fun things that are going to happen. You're going to get to play with it, and that is coming. So virtual reality it'll be stationary, so you'll be in one position, but you'll be able to completely look around within that space from top to bottom. All right, so it looks like those are all the questions we have for today. I'd like to thank the KITS community for participating today. Don't forget, we're always looking for your submissions to becoming the next KITS collaborator. So please, if you want to know more information, you can certainly go to our Knowledge Center, and you can definitely check out the Knowledge Center for more information about that. Once you actually submit your rendering and your quote about KITS, we'll set you up with a Starbucks e-gift card of up to $25. We're really looking for anybody that wants or is interested in becoming a collaborator. You can be a first level user, so an active user. You can be a power user. You can be a past collaborator. We're looking for those new projects so that we can actually showcase your work and we can relate your story to the rest of the community. Also, all webinar recordings are available once they're converted on our YouTube page. You can access that by just going to YouTube and searching for KITS Webinar Wednesday. Or what you can do is you can also go to our Knowledge Center and you can find a link to all our videos there. Don't forget to sign up for our free basic training webinar. That's on April 12th. And also look out for any upcoming news and announcements such as the Windows Surface or the KITS Collaborator for Windows 10. That will be sent out either through email or by visiting our Knowledge Center. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks again for attending today's webinar. I hope to see you back right here next week for Webinar Wednesday. Bye, everyone.